It's gonna be like. So what if we lose? It's gonna be all right. So what if we get swept? It's gonna be all right. So what if we miss out on the money? It's gonna be all right. That he just gives you that impression.
You're just getting sued. Everyone's so sensitive. YouTube was demonetizing like half my videos because they were becoming more, progressive, and all of their advertisers would be like, we can't have this.
You just will never be a good fighter. So I wish that I could have knocked him out at the start. But as we saw tonight, Jake has spirit.
Stephen A. Smith revealed that Jake Paul is facing financial collapse after being sued over claims that his boxing matches were rigged. He reportedly said risking all his money was a terrible decision because when illegal actions are uncovered, punishment always follows. Stephen explained that once wrongdoing is exposed, the damage cannot be stopped, and this result was destined to happen sooner rather than later, as reported by several media sources.
But there's like a firm who has stolen a bunch of money from celebrities in Los Angeles and athletes.
You don't want to say the name because you're probably going to get sued.
No, yeah. No,
That's another $1 million.
I'm probably going to sue them one day.
Jake Paul reportedly said he lost all his money and even his YouTube videos were removed due to content problems. He shared that every lawsuit cost him millions and the losses added up fast. Jake explained that even though he once earned massive income, the non-stop legal fights wiped it all out. He said the pressure never stopped. He reflected on how fast money can vanish when legal trouble keeps coming.
Was 100% scripted. Mike Tyson repeatedly bit his boxing glove throughout the fight. When fights are scripted, fighters do weird gestures to signal that they're hurt. It's very possible Mike Tyson was biting on his glove to tell Jake Paul to calm down. Now, if that's not enough proof that this fight was scripted, in the middle of the fight, Mike Tyson is literally...
Jake Paul reportedly stands his ground and says he never fixed any fights and warns he will sue anyone who accuses him of things he did not do. He says scripted fights are illegal and false accusations are very serious. Jake claims the allegations against him have no truth and could even be treated as a federal crime. He makes it clear that he is ready to take legal action to defend his name and protect his career.
In those fights, though, I ain't gonna lie.
You honestly believe that?
I wanted to believe it when you fought Woodley.
Rampage.
Because I'm an MMA guy.
Anyone who believes that narrative, it's like, come on. You think Anderson Silva's gonna lose? You think Woodley's gonna take a fall? You know these guys.
Yeah, no, I didn't think Anderson would take a fall.
People think the Mike Tyson fight is rigged. I try to understand.
Jake Paul reportedly refuses to back down and says he never arranged any fights and says he will sue anyone who makes claims he says are false. He states that staged fights are against the law and that false accusations are extremely serious. Jake says the claims have no truth behind them and could even be viewed as a federal offense. He makes it clear that he is fully prepared to use the courts to defend his reputation and protect his career.
Mike Tyson has got to do this fight. This is what I wrote on Instagram, and someone commented saying he doesn't have to do it, he's choosing to do it. And then I thought, you're right, he is choosing to do it, but why is he choosing to do it? Well, he's doing it for one reason and one reason only, and that is the money. He's getting paid so much money to do this. So that tells me he's getting bought. So again, it is sad that someone like Mike Tyson can get bought, because this guy is an absolute legend. He shouldn't be able to get bought like this. He's 57 years old. He needs to be enjoying retirement. Now, I don't think that I've got the wealth that Mike Tyson's got, but if someone offered me $20 million to fight Jake Paul, I would say no, because I care too much about me brain health, about me children, about me family, where it seems like he is being bored. And I'm not trying to disrespect the man. I absolutely love the man.
Tony Jeff spoke in support of Jake Paul and said the people claiming Mike Tyson was holding back are wrong. He explained that Mike was not holding anything because if he had thrown a full punch at that moment, Jake would have fired right back. According to Jeffer, the critics do not truly understand boxing. He said they fail to recognize the skill, timing, and strategy involved in the fight, which makes their opinions unfair and uninformed.
Not just world champion, but one of the greatest of all time.
Are the fights even real? Like the Tyson fight? Like I saw video breakdowns of Tyson not throwing punches early on in that fight. I don't know if you watched any of those videos where like there's a left hook is 100% available. Tyson in training 99% of the time releases that punch and he held up. Like, do you think that was a real fight?
It looked like sparring to me. That's what it looked like.
But like with an arrangement beforehand? Like,
I wouldn't want to speculate because I haven't talked to anybody about it. But my educated assessment,
agree.
Yes.
Agree.
It looked like sparring.
Meanwhile, analysts on the Joe Rogan podcast suggested that Jake Paul fight with Mike Tyson was scripted. They said that while Mike looked sharp and powerful during training, his performance in the actual fight appeared restrained. According to them, his punches were controlled and his intensity seemed purposely reduced, which was different from his usual style. They believe this showed the fight was managed rather than fully competitive. Some observers added that the pacing, timing, and reactions in the ring looked adjusted, making the match feel scripted to many viewers.
What he's doing in the boxing ring.
Listen, so long as people will tune in and so long as Jake Paul is paid by Netflix or any broadcaster to air his fights, we're going to see this continue. And Jake Paul knows his business model, right? Now, this deviated, this AJ fight, which came together kind of last minute after the Tank Davis fight fell apart. But we know Jake Paul's MO here. It's find the most popular guy with the most physical disadvantages for me to fight. And Jake Paul has the benefit that he's turned himself into a villain, or in the pro wrestling circles, a heel. People tune in to watch. We did not tune into this fight to see competitive boxing. Most of us tuned in because we thought, here's Anthony Joshua. Here's a two-time unified heavyweight champion, a guy who physically just overwhelms Jake Paul. And we're finally going to get what Tyron Woodley and Anderson Silva, Nate Diaz were not physically fit, whether it be through their size, experience, or age to do, and that is knock out Jake Paul. And so because I don't really feel like we got that satisfying comeuppance that a lot of people have been waiting for, it kind of gives Jake Paul a little bit of mystique, I'd almost say, to still try and string this along. Now, I don't know in terms, he says he wants to be cruiserweight champion. I'm not quite sure what the competitive road there is, because let's make no mistake, the reason this fight lasted as long as it did is because Jake Paul focused exclusively on being elusive. He did his best, and kudos to him, right? He did a great job of not getting cornered. He was always on the gas until the gas sort of fell out from underneath him. And so I don't quite know, short of leveraging his popularity, how he's going to get to that title shot if he's not actually going to fight, like really.
Jake Paul's recent fight against Anthony Joshua came with talk that he wanted to tilt the match in his favor through planning and smart movement. However, that idea did not play out as expected, and Jake spent most of the fight focused on protecting himself instead of taking control. People watching noticed that while he showed some defensive skill, his overall style looked careful and reserved. This reflected how hard it is to deal with a top-level fighter like Joshua. Analysts said that even with preparation and tactics, the match revealed how difficult it is to fully carry out a plan, since boxing is unpredictable and even well-thought-out strategies can fail.
Jake Paul and Julio Cesar Chavez are currently right now in the 7th round of their fight. But when you go to Google and Google the fight, it gives an accurate breakdown of all their past fights. And then it comes to the current fight, and it says that Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. loses a unanimous decision to Jake Paul in 2025. The fight has not even played out yet. Yet they're saying that this is the end result, as they are fighting right now, currently as it stands. This leans testament to the fact that people state that Jake Paul has his fights fixed. What's your thoughts on this? This is nasty work. Unbelievable.
Confusion spread among viewers during the 7th round of Jake Paul fight with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., when some fans claimed online pages had already named Jake the winner before the match ended. This early announcement shocked people and triggered heated arguments across social media, with many questioning if the fight was real. However, this moment was not seen as a one-time issue in Jake's career. For a long time, observers have noticed a pattern in his fights, with opponents carefully chosen heavy media promotion and wins that often appear almost guaranteed.
It's serious news in the combat sports world. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, it's come out now. It was rigged. I can't believe it. You know, you have to question the validity of boxing these days when you can't trust two professionals to get in the ring and do their best against each other. And instead you find out Mike Tyson pulling these punches, not trying to hurt Jake Paul. Absolute disgrace. I thought better of them. You know, I really did. I thought that Mike Tyson especially, Iron Mike, you was just going to go in there and knock Jake clean out. But here he is.
Jake Paul fight with Chavez Jr. was not the first time people raised serious questions. His fighting style often mixes real sport with pure entertainment. Many fans see a clear pattern. He faces opponents who are no longer in their prime. The matches are built for massive views. The outcomes often seem to work in his favor. These planned elements have pushed many to believe his career focuses more on show and attention than proving his skill against equal competition.
Joshua's more experienced or better. I believe in I believe boxing's real. If boxing is an actual sport, if it is an actual sweet science, then of course a guy that's done it 11 times cannot compete with the Olympic champion. Of course. This is before you get size in there, before you get professional world titles in there. A guy that's done this 11 times cannot go into the Olympic Games and medal. If boxing, in fact, should be believed. I was with Portnoy. I liked it. I liked how he said that. So, you know, that's how I feel too. Because I'm also cheering for Jake Paul. But I get it. I know we're not going to win tonight. But that's a compliment to boxing. And it is very hard for people to digest that Anthony Joshua can't cut him off. He can't find him. He can't do anything with that reach. He can't go out there and rush him. He can't throw this kid in a corner and beat him up. That is disappointing to me. That is baffling to me. As an MMA guy, I will just share with you, that would not be a problem at all. At all. If a guy's running away from me, it would be absolutely no problem. And you can put the boundaries at the city line. You can put it at the state line. I will track him down. I will put him somewhere and I will beat the dog out of him. So in a ring, I get where that is really disappointing. I get it, but it doesn't change the fact that that's what happened. And then Joshua, by the way, has the right to turn to some other things. Where I'm saying he had to cut him off, grab him, throw him in the corner, go beat him up. While I'm saying that, Joshua has the right to go, I could feel some stuff. I knew it was going to come my way, right? For Joshua to say, well, I had the experience, and yeah, he was moving, and yeah, I could have cut him off a little different. But I didn't mind the way this was going. I didn't mind that he was running. I knew we would slow down. I knew he would come to me eventually. Like, for that to be Joshua's mindset.
Chael Sonnen spoke about the situation and pointed out how strange it is for a fighter with only 11 professional matches to face opponents with long careers and Olympic backgrounds. He said the idea of putting a still-developing fighter into such major fights does not make sense. From his view, these matchups seem designed to create drama and headlines rather than real and fair competition.
It's open. Upstairs is open, and I was surprised that he wasn't going there, but, you know, any of this nonsense, script, bullshit, like if you subscribe to that notion, you're an absolute idiot. You're an absolute idiot. There was no reason for, you know, first of all, you go to jail. Why would Netflix, the biggest streaming platform in the world, partake in anything like that? Just use your brain. And MVP, too much to lose. You go to jail. Federal effing prison. AJ, like, for what? For what? He doesn't need it. He doesn't need more money. It's great, but to risk this? No. Look at what's going on with the gambling. No way. There's no way. My respect for Jake has grown. I know people don't like to give him credit. You fight amateur, influencer, pro boxing. You have my respect. I don't care what kind of fighter you are. I don't care how many wins you have. You step through those ropes. You have my respect. He lasted 6 rounds. Most didn't think he would. I think the line as far as how many rounds was 2.5. So clearly most people thought he would be out of there around that point. And I think a lot of people were going with the under. He had some moments. He had the antics. You know, obviously the takedowns and all that weren't great, but golly, I think he was tired. You know, the ring was bigger and everyone said that was going to benefit him, the 22x22 ring. But, you know, cardio has been an issue for him. And so when you're circling and dancing, you're going to get tired. You're going to gas out. And I think that happened. Arms were down and he was getting pinned. He was getting cornered and he was getting, you know, AJ was doing a great job, I think, of not letting the fight be contested in the middle of the ring, cornering him, either in the middle, like the turnbuckle, or up against the ropes. He was cutting him off perfectly. And so I know people are going to be upset that
Joe Rogan added more depth to the debate by saying Jake Paul has always wanted to be seen as a real fighter. Rogan believes Jake truly wants to test himself in the ring and prove he can handle real competition. However, the repeated pattern of chosen opponents and controlled situations keeps raising doubts about how real the challenge actually is and how much is carefully managed to help his career. This discussion also connects to his fight with Anthony Joshua. Analysts like Ariel Helwani explain that Joshua had no reason to take reckless risks just for money. He was already extremely wealthy and focused on protecting his legacy. That is why Joshua fought with caution, stayed disciplined, and avoided unnecessary danger, showing that the stakes of the fight were completely different for both men.
A few longer. I'll give credit to Jake for hanging in there. Part of it was because he employed an extremely unfriendly for fans style, but it was the only way he could do it if he wanted to survive that many rounds, which is to basically get on his bicycle and ride around the ring for a bunch of rounds and then get off his bicycle and run, like a criminal at night after the cops show up. So it is what it is. I mean, it'll be the fact that it still resonated shows you the interest that there was in the fight, and certainly that knockout was a viral clip. And and I'll quote the great philosopher Eddie Hearn. We're going to take care of Jake Paul and on to the real boxing in 2026.
Yeah, the great philosopher.
Eddie will like that.
Yeah, he will. I might take that out because he'll like it too much. Look, in terms of AJ now, I think he's always in a no-win situation. I think unless he flattened him within 10 seconds, someone would have something to say. Whether it be before the fight and why is he doing this? Look, we know why he's doing it. And it helps him, I suppose, in the US market as well in terms of coming over here and making a big splash. But do you understand where some people maybe have been a bit critical with how long it's taken, or is it the fact that you fight a guy who's that, like you mentioned there, he's a novice boxer and he's moving around the ring? Was it down to Anthony to cut him off sooner, or do you see why it went that long?
I mean, look, Anthony certainly could have done a better job cutting the ring off, and Anthony Joshua was the first one to say so himself after the ring. I mean, I've always viewed Joshua as...
Dan Raphael added more perspective by breaking down what happened in the Joshua fight. He gave Jake Paul credit for lasting as long as he did and explained that Jake's cautious defensive approach was the only way he could survive several rounds against a fighter of Joshua level, even if fans did not enjoy watching it. Raphael believes the fight clearly showed how hard it is to move from spectacle-driven matches into real professional competition. This idea also goes beyond Joshua and Chavez Jr. because critics have long said Paul opponents are often carefully selected to boost viewership while keeping real danger as low as possible.
In that ring could have hurt Mike because, again, Mike did not look like he should be in a ring. But we just saw this whole experiment. We don't need a Logan and Mike Tyson fight after this. For Logan to clearly not get the joke and disrespect Mike to his face after he had just fought Jake in this amazing event, and all you can really do is give him his flowers because that's what you should do right then. Logan has to take it another level and continue to be the asshole. So again, the self-awareness on Logan Paul, whether it's Lunchley or Prime or anything to do with crypto, the guy just doesn't give a fuck about anybody but himself. But then, like I said, Jake didn't really call anybody out in the post-fight presser, in his post-fight interview with Ariel, but the internet went ablaze over, him fighting Mike, and how are you continue.
A podcast host strongly criticized the decision to place a 58-year-old man in the ring for one of Jake Paul fights, and said a matchup like that should never be allowed under normal rules. He explained that putting someone of that age into a professional fight raises serious concerns about safety and fairness. According to him, the structure of the fight and the final result appeared to be decided long before the opening bell, and were driven mainly by money rather than real athletic competition. This belief that the fights are controlled continues to grow when people look at repeated patterns across Jake Paul's career. Fans and analysts point to carefully selected opponents who are often past their prime, heavy media promotion designed to build hype, and fight strategies that seem planned to limit risk. These elements together create a feeling that many of the bouts are more planned entertainment than true sporting contests. Even with constant criticism, Jake Paul continues to defend his status as a real fighter. He keeps taking on famous names and stays highly active across media platforms to control the narrative around his career. The controversy around his fights has not slowed down, and discussion continues to grow after every major event. Many observers admit that Jake shows endurance, discipline, and some technical ability, especially when using a defensive approach to survive longer against stronger opponents. Still, they argue that the controlled nature of the matchup's older opponents, cautious pacing, and non-stop promotion make it difficult to see the fights as pure competition. Instead, they appear designed to protect his image, maintain popularity, and generate massive profits. Because of this, fans, analysts, and boxing insiders remain divided. Some believe Jake is slowly improving and deserves credit for stepping into the ring. Others feel his career is built on carefully managed events that blur the line between sport and entertainment. This ongoing debate keeps his name in headlines and ensures attention never fades, but it also leaves a lasting question about whether his legacy will be remembered for true competition or carefully staged success.